The science fiction story begins in the 22nd century, depicting a time when humans had made significant advancements in technology. Just a few decades ago, it took humans considerable time to reach the moon. Now, technology had advanced so much that it took only seconds to travel to other planets. In fact, human civilization had invented a technology called Hyperloop, within which their spaceship traveled through a peculiar type of black hole, creating a route directly to the targeted location. With this technology widespread across human civilization, various missions were being conducted, such as exploring different planets in other galaxies to find out if life existed there. Despite advancements in technology, Earth's condition had deteriorated somewhat due to pollution. Therefore, many private organizations were attempting to shift human civilization to habitable planets similar to our Earth's environment. Now, deep in space, a spaceship is visible, inside which many astronauts are preparing to search for a habitable planet. The captain of all of them was named Adam, who was talking to an astronaut named Jerry about how long it would take us to reach our planet named Alta. Jerry was saying that if we use Hyperloop, we could reach there in just a few hours. Actually, their organization had launched a search for a planet named Alta, which was several hundred light-years away. Its environment was 80% similar to Earth, with a heavy presence of oxygen. However, a few years ago, another mission was sent towards Alta, which failed and never returned. Therefore, now a new mission was being sent towards Alta, aimed at rescuing the remaining survivors and gathering as much information as possible about Earth and Alta. After several hours, Adam informs all his team members that they are approaching Alta, so everyone should focus on their assigned tasks. All crew members engage in their assigned work because while Alta was habitable, its orbit was quite fluctuating. And if the spaceship were to lose control, it would crash onto the planet. Captain Adam was informing all crew members that this mission wasn't just about researching the planet, but also possibly rescuing survivors from previous missions who might still be alive there. Finally, their spaceship reached the orbit of Alta, and the rest of the crew members began inspecting the surface of Alta. They also sent signals to the stranded astronauts who were stuck on Alta from the previous mission. Suddenly, an astronaut announces that he received an audio-recorded message from Alta. When Captain Adam and Jerry listen to it, they discover it's from Edward, an astronaut who had landed on the planet during the previous mission. Captain Adam introduces himself and explains that they're from the same organization that sent Edward, intending to rescue them all. However, Edward replies that they don't need any of these things. "We don't want to leave this planet at all, so return your spaceship back toward Earth." Edward was also saying that if you all entered the orbit of this planet, your life could be in danger, which he could not do anything about, but Captain Adam did not trust Edward's words on anything. He was asking Edward to just give us the coordinates so that we could land. Edward was now giving coordinates without thinking too much, and with the help of which Captain Adam's entire team was following the coordinates to land on planet Alta after the spaceship's doors opened. All crew members descended and began researching the soil and everything else on the planet. From space, the planet appeared completely gray in color. Suddenly, Adam and the other astronauts noticed something running towards them from a distance. Its speed was so fast that they were all startled upon seeing it. Captain Adam informed his entire crew so they could be prepared. They understood that there could be different types of creatures here, so they were provided with various weapons for their protection. After waiting for a while, the rushing thing finally reached them and stopped. It wasn't just anything, it was an advanced robot named Robbie. Robbie introduced himself to Adam and his friends, saying he had come to take them to his creator, Edward. He wanted to talk to them about something. Captain Adam didn't find Robbie threatening in any way, so he appointed one of his astronauts as the leader in Robbie's absence, and now Captain Adam, Jerry, and the astronaut trio set off with Robbie towards Edward. And there was space to sit beside him, where all three of them sat down, and Robbie continued to move ahead continuously. Within a few minutes, he caught such high speed that he directly reached Edward's house. After landing in front of Edward's house, all three astronauts meet Edward, who had sent them a voice message some time ago, giving them the coordinates here. Upon entering, they are quite amazed to see Edward's house on this planet, how he managed all these things here. Although Edward was not pleased with their arrival, he still invites them inside for dinner. Captain Adam, Jerry, and Astro enjoy dinner thoroughly, relishing the delicious food. Jerry asks Edward how he prepared such a delicious meal, and Edward explains that it wasn't him but Robbie who did it. Edward has made advanced changes inside Robbie, allowing him to create all kinds of things. And furthermore, inside him were abilities for multitasking, meaning he could perform several tasks at once. Edward then started explaining to all three astronauts about the structures made by Robbie. After dinner, Edward was telling Captain Atom that maybe now all of them should leave from here. But Captain Atom, Jerry, and Astro felt they should talk to their other astronaut friends first. It was then that Edward revealed a dark secret, saying that besides him, no other astronaut survived. Upon hearing this, Captain Atom, Jerry, and Astro were completely shocked. Edward told them the whole truth about how it happened. Edward said that when our spaceship was landing on the planet, due to turbulence in orbit, our spaceship crashed. The tragic part was that all the other astronauts were killed in that accident, but Edward and his wife survived. Together, they slowly started living here and made this house their own. They also had a very lovely daughter named Alta. But just a few years ago, his wife had died a natural death, and since then Edward has been living alone on this planet with his daughter Alta. After a while, Edward calls his daughter Alta to introduce her to the other three. Alta was incredibly beautiful, which amazed all three, especially Jerry and Astro, who were immediately taken by Alta. They couldn't understand how Alta was surviving alone on this entire planet without any male survivor, so now Jerry and Astro went to ask her why. Edward left the entire decision to his daughter, because if Alta wanted to go with them to Earth, she would, but Alta rejected Jerry's invitation, saying she would stay wherever her father was. She couldn't leave her father alone like this. This completely surprised Jerry and Astro, who were continuously trying to persuade Alta. Edward then asks Alta to meet his other friends. The three astronauts were very curious to finally meet the friends Edward was talking about. Alta then activates a signal inside, which prompts all the animals to come out. Edward had also saved the animals here so that they would not feel lonely. Alta had become very good friends with all these animals as well. Now here Edward was forcing Captain Atom, Jerry, and Astro to leave because now the decision had been made that both of them would stay here only. That's why your time is wasted here. But Captain Atom was saying that we cannot make such a decision, I have to talk to the headquarters of Earth first, which will give me this permission. Till then, we can continue our research on this planet. After talking about all these things, Captain Atom, Jerry, and Astro sat in their car and started going towards the base. Now we were being shown towards the spaceship, where all the crew members were busy making their shelter. Everyone needed their own shelter to stay safe, so those people were busy at work. The surprising thing was that Edward had also sent Roby to help them. Roby does the work of 5 people alone. Captain Atom was also pleased that Edward was trying to help them in some way. Now they were all busy with their work. But here Captain Atom noticed that Jerry was nowhere to be seen. So he set out to find him. Jerry had become very close to Alta by now and was kissing her, but then Captain Atom came from behind and saw all these things and scolded them. He had sent Jerry back to base and started explaining to Alta that she should not do all these things in any way because we are astronauts who came from Earth and your body has adapted to this planet. Due to some reaction, both of you could have been in danger. Although Alta was angry due to Captain Atom's scolding, all these things were being said for her benefit. Now we were being shown here towards the base made by those astronauts, where all the astronauts were busy making their shelters. Then in the middle of the night, an invisible thing started infiltrating their base camp and started moving some things here and there. This thing was not visible at all. When morning came, Captain Atom realized that some of their devices were not working. Then he was asking his crew members who had done this work in the end. Because if negligence like this happens, their entire communication system would be compromised. Captain Atom had no idea that it wasn't his crew members, but something invisible that perhaps didn't want them to communicate with Earth's organization. Captain Atom cautioned his companions to stay alert from now on. The next day, after finishing all his work, Captain Atom went to Edward's house to discuss some matters, but then they saw Alta, who was bathing without clothes. Atom told her to quickly put on clothes. When she came out wearing clothes, she was quite close to Atom. Atom couldn't stop himself and kissed Alta, surprising her. Captain Atom had stopped Jerry from doing this, but he himself had to do all this. At that moment, Alta's pet lion had come, which considered Atom its enemy. So now he growled at the stunned Atom and started moving towards him to kill him. Atom immediately took out his advanced gun and completely finished off the lion. But due to all these things, Alta became very angry. Because there were only a few animals left here, she entertained herself. If the animals died like this, she could be alone on the entire planet. Now a few hours later Captain Atom and Astro Edward go to the office to question, but Edward was not there, so now Captain Atom sees the papers kept on his desk. When Captain Atom started reading, he was shown some advanced technologies that are not present on Earth at all. Both of them learn more things before Edward comes to the office. Edward had already known that both of them were curious about his experiment, so now Edward asks Captain Atom and Astro to come after him. Edward was telling that in these years I have lived here and done many experiments. There are some strange metals on this planet that were not on Earth. By using those things, I prepared an advanced robot like Robbie, and experiments continued to be immortal, meaning Edward wanted to live for years. Now Edward goes to show his biggest underground machine in which there were more than 1,000 thermal reactors inside. And this together can generate a lot of electricity and powers. Captain Atom and Astro are completely shocked because if this kind of technology came on Earth, our Earth in terms of technology would advance by many hundred years. Therefore, Captain Atom advises Edward that you should share all this technology with us Earthlings, but Edward says that maybe Earth is not ready for it yet because if this technology came to them, there could be riots and chaos. That's why Edward says that until I research all this properly, I do not want to tell anyone about it. Now here we are shown the remaining crew members near the spaceship whom Jerry was guiding. Those people had now created a force field around the entire base so that it could be known who was infiltrating inside. Suddenly, at that place, the same invisible thing was trying to come which could not enter due to the communication device support field, but now due to putting a lot of energy into that invisible thing, it kills some astronauts, after which he left from there. Captain Atom and Astro were looking at that creature which was invisible. They were trying to gather information about it, but sadly they didn't find anything. The next day, they pay tribute to their fallen friends. After that, Captain Atom sees Edward coming to meet him with Robbie. Edward tells Captain Atom that the same invisible creature that attacked all of them had also killed all our other crews many years ago, and I was telling you all about this danger. The biggest power of this creature is its invisibility. It cannot be seen by anyone, so no one can even kill it. Edward warns Captain Atom and the other astronauts to stay alert. Now Captain Atom, with his crew, once again tries to detect that invisible creature using all the equipment they have. They had movement sensors to locate where the creature was. Suddenly, they start receiving signals, meaning the creature was advancing towards them. The creature breaks through the force field set up around them and grabs Jerry and some astronauts, taking them away. The rest of the crew members were very disappointed because Jerry used to be their best friend. Now, Captain Atom arrives at Edward's house to meet him, but all the electricity in his house was suddenly off, which made him suspicious, and he began to enter. Just then, Robbie comes in front of them, who was saying that he has instructions not to let anyone enter the house. Until then, Alt had already risen there, who was telling Atom to come inside. Atom was very happy to see Alt and hugged her. Alt was making Captain Atom understand that this planet is not as good as you think. There are dangerous things here too, so take your crew members and leave from here. But Captain Atom says, please come with me, but Alt could not leave her father like this. It was clear instructions that wherever her father stays, she will also go there. Captain Atom started thinking somewhere that maybe Alt could also agree to go with them forcibly to Earth with Edward. Suddenly, Robbie brings Astro here, who was taking his last breath. Robbie explained that Astro accidentally walked into the machine that Edward had made, and upon entering it, things imagined were converting into reality. But it seems the effect reversed on Astro. Now completely weakened, he was taking his last breath. Then Edward comes to him and says that this was bound to happen. Astro himself imagined all these things because when he went inside the machine, his radiation caused Astro's condition to become like this. Here, Edward reveals a dark secret that he had also tested this machine years ago and imagined such type of creature inside it which is invisible and dangerous. The machine worked, and that creature converted into reality, meaning this creature that is continuously killing everyone was not created by anyone else but Edward's dreams. Alt was also very interested in seeing her father's imagination, so now she said to go with Captain Atom leaving her father. Edward told Captain Atom that I had no idea that all these things would go so wrong. Edward had also said one more lie that his crew members were killed due to the spaceship crash, but they were crushed to death by this dangerous invisible creature. Suddenly, Robbie tells that something is continuously increasing towards our side from the north side. As soon as Edward and Alt looked towards the south side, the big artificial jungles were breaking, the same dangerous invisible creature was coming towards them. Before entering the dangerous creature, Edward had locked all the doors, but it seemed that these things would not stop that creature for long. Edward tells Robbie to kill that creature with a gunshot, but according to Robbie's details, he couldn't reach Edward because ultimately, that invisible creature was made from Edward's subconscious mind too. That means, it's also a part of Edward, so Robbie couldn't harm it. Robbie walks away with a shutdown mood, and here, that invisible creature had almost broken all the walls and started wreaking havoc inside. Edward, Captain Atom, and Alt quickly ran to another compartment, where Captain Atom closed all the doors and put a lock on them. But now, Captain Atom started asking Edward how this thing could finally be ended, tell him the way, but Edward was not telling anything. He felt that all these things were happening correctly because Edward had forbidden Atom and the others from coming here. In the midst of all this, a scuffle also starts between Captain Atom and Edward. After suffering a lot of beating, Edward finally reveals that 20 years ago, when he came to this planet with his crew, everything was running completely normal then. But when Edward created this invisible monster with his thoughts, he wanted no one to leave this planet, and he commanded his subconscious mind to make the monster eliminate his other crew members. In a way, Edward had orchestrated the murder of his crew members. Upon learning this, Alta also began to hate her father completely. She was now ready to go with Captain Atom. On the other hand, the dangerous monster was relentlessly trying to break through the walls and enter. Captain Atom tells Edward that if he doesn't do something, his daughter will also be killed, and he must accept that all this is happening because of him. Therefore, the solution must also come from him. In reality, Edward knew that since he had created the monster from his subconscious mind, only he could end it, which meant Edward had to sacrifice himself to destroy the monster. Now, Edward sacrifices his life solely to save his daughter. Edward was now completely dead. The monster also became much weaker. However, Edward didn't die. Taking his last breaths, he told Atom to take his daughter with him. As they left, Edward instructed Atom to click on the machine he had created, which would destroy the entire planet. Atom quickly took Alt and pressed the button, leaving in the spaceship with all their crew members. The planet was now completely destroyed, beyond anyone's reach. Inside the spaceship, Captain Atom and the rest of the crew members, including Alt and Robbie, were present. They decided to take Robbie with them for his advanced technologies, perhaps allowing humanity to advance further with this good vision. They began moving towards Earth, and this science fiction story ended here.